Welcome to the Explainer, everyone. I'm really excited to dive into this with you today because we're kicking off what is truly a collaborative journey. Together, we're building a powerful new computational lens for analyzing ancient texts. Now, as humanities scholars, you already know the material intimately, so today is all about how we can give your domain expertise a serious computational upgrade. And I want to stress right up front, this is about enhancing your traditional scholarly judgment, absolutely not replacing it. So, what's the core question we're actually tackling here? Well, it's one you're definitely familiar with. Schreckenberg famously mapped these intricate text reuses between Josephus and a whole host of later Greek authors. Our goal? We want to test those historical mappings computationally. We're going to take these ancient passages and compare them systematically. But obviously, before we can compare anything, we need a method that actually understands what the text means. And that is exactly where the technology comes in. Look, we all know traditional keyword searches can be incredibly brittle. They completely fail when an author borrows an idea but uses totally different vocabulary to express it. To get around this, we use something called a knowledge graph. Think of it as a structured map of entities and their relationships. By extracting the underlying structure of the knowledge, the actual semantic meaning rather than just raw words, we can compare texts even if the authors express themselves in completely different ways. It's a real game changer. Now, to actually read these graphs, we use a concept called a predicate. Simply put, a predicate is just the verb or the link connecting two concepts. It's exactly like identifying subjects and verbs in classical grammar. So if Josephus says someone ruled over a region, and a later Byzantine author says he governed it, the predicate captures that core relationship connecting the person to the place. But here's the catch. To accurately compare these graphs across centuries of Greek literature, they literally have to speak the exact same language. We can't have one graph using ruled over and another one using governed. It's like trying to compare apples and oranges. We need a shared controlled vocabulary to normalize those terms. In the computational world, we call this a validated ancient Greek ontology. And this plan we're looking at today, it's the blueprint for how we're going to build that shared vocabulary. So how exactly do we build it? Well, we don't just guess. We follow a really rigorous, iterative loop from Chapter 12. First, we design a top-down ontology based on your expert knowledge. Then we sample the texts. Next, we let the AI generate graphs completely unconstrained. We call those free-format graphs. From there, we induce a bottom-up ontology to see what vocabulary naturally bubbled up from the data itself. Finally, we compare the two, refine the design, and you validate it. It's a deliberate scientific process. No AI block boxes here. To do that bottom-up heavy lifting, let me introduce you to your new co-pilot, a tool called the Ontology Inducer. It takes those unconstrained, free-format graphs as input, and it churns out vocabulary reports and draft ontologies. But let me be incredibly clear about this. It does not make decisions for us. It perfectly diagnoses the gaps in our vocabulary, but it relies entirely on your human, scholarly expertise to make the final call. All right, to show you this isn't just a bunch of theory, let's look at Chapter 91. We actually test drove this exact methodology on a corpus of medieval Ramban biblical commentary. Seeing this worked example makes the abstract stuff super concrete. And honestly, what we found in this pilot run proved, beyond a shadow of a doubt, exactly why we need human guidance driving this process. When we let the AI run on the Ramban texts without any ontology constraints, the results were staggering. It generated 158 unique predicates. But get this, 76% of them only appeared a single time across the entire corpus. There is no way you can analyze that. The AI was just making up hyper-specific verbs for every single sentence, causing massive fragmentation. Without an ontology to rein it in and normalize the vocabulary, the graphs were just a messy, incomparable disaster. And then we discovered a massive sampling bias. By randomly grabbing 10 Ramban texts, our sample accidentally skewed heavily toward Kabbalistic theology. The AI generated a ton of mystical predicates, but completely missed the standard legal or halakhic terms. It just hit the nail on the head that we can't just throw data at the machine. We absolutely need carefully curated, stratified sampling to accurately represent a corpus. Now, to measure if our ontology is actually working, we use a metric called the F1 score. Please don't let the technical jargon throw you off. It's literally just a combined measurement of precision, meaning accuracy, and recall, meaning completeness. We use this F1 score to empirically check if our shared vocabulary is actually improving the text analysis, or if we're accidentally restricting the AI so much that it's dropping important historical relationships. And this is where the synergy between computer and scholar really shines. During the Ramban run, that bottom-up induction revealed blind spots we hadn't even thought of in our top-down design. For example, the tool flagged that our designed ontology was totally missing essential genealogical links, like the predicate has sibling, which the AI naturally caught in the text. The machine spotted the gap, the scholars made the decision to add it. Total synergy. Okay, so taking all those hard-learned lessons, let's pivot to Chapter 100, the blueprint for the Greek project. We are looking at a scope of 40 to 50 total text passages. Exactly half of those will come directly from Josephus, carefully stratified across his different books. The other 50% will be pulled from those 19 different citing authors that Schreckenberg mapped. This is the sweet spot. It gives us enough data to avoid that fragmentation problem, while keeping the human workload totally manageable. And remember that sampling bias we hit earlier? To make sure that doesn't happen again, we're organizing those citing authors into 4 distinct historical linguistic buckets. We're casting a really wide net here, covering everything from 2nd century late Koine Greek all the way to 14th century late Byzantine Greek. By splitting it up this way, we guarantee our shared vocabulary captures all that dialect variation over the centuries. It makes the final ontology historically rock solid. So how will we actually know when we're done? We've set up some really strict convergence criteria. We need an 80% minimum coverage of the text's natural vocabulary. We require that our F1 score absolutely does not drop, and recall loss has to stay under 2%. But listen, those are just the automated stop conditions. The true ultimate requirement for success is final qualitative approval by a domain scholar. If you, the experts, don't sign off on the semantics, we keep working. Which brings us to a pivotal decision from Chapter 100, and it's one we literally cannot make without you. We have 2 options for how we select those 40 to 50 texts. Option A is manual scholar-curated selection, meaning you personally handpick the passages based on your expertise. Option B is automated random sampling. A script randomly selects texts based on quotas from those period buckets we just talked about. And there's no hybrid here. We have to commit to one or the other. So, this is where I officially hand the keys over to you. Here are the immediate open decisions and the paid tasks we need your expertise for. First up, we need you to choose Option A or Option B for sampling. Second, we have some ambiguous TLG identifiers for authors like Origin and Eusebius that really need a scholar's eye to lock down. And finally, we'll need you for that paid scholarly review to validate the final ontology once our iterative loops are done. So, I'll leave you with this to chew on as we wrap up. Option A or Option B? Which path gives us the most defensible sample for analyzing the Josephus corpus in a published setting? Does statistical reproducibility matter more here, or is direct scholarly curation the only way to go? I am so eager to hear what you think, and I can't wait to build this amazing tool together.